Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite systems here and playing around with a very neat modern add-on. And today we're working with the Commodore VIC20, one of the early 8-bit line computers. I've got it hooked up to an old Magnavox TV, and we're going to be playing around with the Future Was 8 Bits, very cool Penultimate Plus cartridge made for the VIC20. Comes fully loaded with games, RAM expansion, all sorts of fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up and just see how it looks on the TV. And on my VIC, the power button is a little finicky. You can see it's a little stretched on this screen, but you can do a lot of really cool stuff with this cartridge. Like I said, it's got the RAM expansion, lots of games. You can exit to basic and run just the standard VIC20. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just set a RAM expansion up to maximum right now just for the heck of it. And then I'm going to show you guys a couple of really cool, fun little basic print statements that are just fun to play with that everybody enjoys on the Commodore. And then I would like to just give a quick plug to the makers of the Penultimate Plus cartridge. It's a little hard to read here on the screen, but it's thefuturewas8bit.com. Great source for all your retro computing needs. I'm not getting compensated to plug them, but I really enjoy them, and I value their contribution to the retro community. Okay, so we're looking at the basic interface here on the VIC20. Obviously on this size TV it's quite stretched, but you can see it's actually pretty clear despite the size up here. I did go ahead and set the RAM expansion on it, but you know, we're just basically going to futz around with some print statements here. I'm going to go ahead and type them in, and then we'll show you how they work. Alright, the first one here is everybody's favorite one-line print statement. And we're going to go ahead and just hit the run button here. Oh. And it looks like I made an error. I think I see what I did. Okay, so I tried to fix the error and then made a typo, so I had to fix it again. But we'll go ahead and run this example program. Again, this is just a one-liner, but it makes a very cool random line pattern. Again, this is probably the most popular little test program you'll ever run on a Commodore. Just a fun little, easy introduction to basically random line generation. I myself, I'm not terribly skilled with BASIC, but I can, follow instructions, and I'm starting to kind of grasp the intention of the command statement. So if you're looking to get into retro computing and you've got a Commodore or you've got a TRS-80 or one of those computers that runs BASIC, I would definitely suggest downloading sample programs on a PDF, printing out the easier ones, and then reading, what the variables do. Because, as you learn, what different variables, different inputs do, different commands do, you'll get a grasp of how the computer's interpreting that language and what it generates then on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and break the program here, and we're going to do just another program that everybody seems to enjoy doing, and that is the infinite loop of print statement. And sorry, I'm typing with one hand, filming with the other, so forgive me. And we'll just do that. And this is a two-line statement, so you're typing in at command line 10 and then command line 20. And basically you're telling the program to print a statement and then go back to that line, and then it's reiterating that same instruction. So it prints in an infinite loop, and what it looks like is this. And you see I made a typo there. Again, typing with one hand, filming with the other. So we'll try this again. Hey, I make this all unedited just so you guys can see, what real life is like in BASIC. You make one small error and you have to go back and figure out what it is and retype that line. Okay, now there's your infinite loop. And again, the 10 instruction tells it to print, or as a master. The 20 instruction tells it to go back to the 10 instruction. And there you go. You just hit the run stop button to break it. If you're interested in the Commodore line, they made oodles of these computers. You can see I've got the C64 right underneath. VIC20s are still out there. They're getting to be a little more rare because, you know, stuff wears out, stuff needs repairs. But these are really great machines. They made a whole bunch of these. They made them for many years. It was the most successful selling computer was the Commodore 64 of all time. So lots of fun there. Next, we'll take a look at the Penultimate Plus cartridge and see what it can do. Alright, so I went in and I plugged in my control stick for the VIC. And we're going to go ahead and hit the fancy little reset button that the cartridge offers. And that brings us back to this original screen here. And you can actually navigate with the control stick. So we'll go into Games. And let's see here. We'll just choose Centipede. You can see it's the Atari port there. And there's the demo screen. And they should have the ability to actually start the game here, but it's kind of tough sometimes when you're going from joystick. There we go. Have to use the F1 button. Okay, so you can adjust your options, of course. And there you go. Now we're using the joystick. Very true to the arcade port. I actually had this on my first home computer. My first one was a Windows 95 custom build. And I love Centipede. Actually, I had Centipede and Millipede, which is essentially the same game. But the VIC actually plays this really well. It plays really smoothly. You know, the programming is not terribly difficult, but it's definitely one of those games that you can really play. It holds true to, you know, the era, but it's still very, very playable. So again, with this cart, you know, you've got all these games preloaded. So check out thefuturewas8bit.com. If you've got a VIC20, you should really get one of these, or at least think about getting one, because it's almost essential these days to find the old RAM expanders or these old games for the VIC. It's pretty tough to get everything you want. So just again, thefuturewas8bit.com, the Penultimate Plus cartridge. Again, want to thank those guys. I'm not getting sponsored or anything by them, but really great stuff for both the VIC20, Commodore 64, and other retro computing on there. Thanks again for joining. Please like and subscribe.